I'm an addict for sneakers.
What's good, it's your boy Delz back with the weekend podcast. I actually posted on Instagram what do you guys want me to speak about a little earlier during the week. I apologize, but I'm just going to be way too hectic around Thursday and Friday to record this, so this is all going to be pre-recorded way earlier in advance. We're going to get right into this Q&A because like this whole week is like super hectic. I got a lot going on, but I definitely want to do this podcast. So let's get right into it. First we got from Waco. He writes, what's my thoughts on the Victor Cruz line that's coming soon? I like the wheat colorway. The red colorway is dope. It's a red shoe. I'm a fan of red. The black cement colorway that I seen like images of months ago, I thought was horrendous. Absolutely just disgusting in a negative way. I just thought it was horrible. I would never be caught dead wearing those. I think that the shoe has too much going on with it, but if it's a solid color, I like the actual silhouette, like the shape of the shoe. It's going to look really nice on feet. Next we got from Reese. He writes, what's my thoughts on Nike abusing the colorways of the Yeezy, like the Red October, and what shoe am I looking forward to the most during the holiday seasons? And then he writes, by the way, I love your show. Definitely the Maroon 6s. I really hope I could get my pair of Maroon 6s. The 6 is my favorite shoe of all time. As far as with Nike abusing the colorways, yeah, like when they do like the, you know, like the pure platinum colorway, or they do something like with the first Yeezys, those colors, it's a little much. It's getting a little played out. I didn't mind the Foamposite one they did, the first one with the black and the solar red lining with the glow-in-the-dark outsole. I thought that was dope. And you know, they ended up doing something after, like an all red foam. I wasn't really into that. Didn't glow in the dark. It was kind of half-assed done. But at the same sense, you know, red shoe, people connect to Red October, but I think more of the younger people do that. I think the older heads don't, because people have been wearing all red shoes since like back in the 80s. Like you'd see mad heads wearing, you know, like all red Reeboks, like the Reebok leather classics. Like heads would wear solid colors, all red, all blue, all green. I remember when being a little kid and seeing the older heads on the block always wearing that. So you know, that was really in style, solid colors with Reebok classics back in the 80s, early 90s. You know, a big deal. Reebok classic leather, solid colors. I'm telling you, people right now are like, word, I remember those days. Like the older people, or like people that study back in the days, like it was a big deal, man. So people need to stop connecting red to the Red October. It's just too much now. Like there's always been red sneakers. Let's move on with that. Like chill, you know. Not directly to you, Reese. I'm just saying, you know, everyone, like, we got to stop connecting an all red shoe to Kanye. It's a damn color. It's red, you know. Kanye was not the first person to put out a red shoe. I damn well put out a red shoe, all red LeBron 9 that I designed over at Nike ID before some Red Octobers, you know. Like red shoes is very popular, and it's always been, you know. So let's move on with that wave. Let's try to do that, sneaker world. Next we got from Zav. He writes, what's your thoughts on the new UNC Foamposite releasing in a couple of colorways? I definitely really dig it. I think it's really dope. Definitely, I'm looking forward to copping a pair, unless when I see him in person I'm like, nah. But I don't think that's going to be the case. And he also says he loves the show, good looking, talks about people he wants to see on Kicking It. We'll see. Ratchet Mike, he writes, what's my thoughts on Stephon Marbury, what he had to say about Jordan Brand, and he says he's glad that I'm finally getting the recognition I deserve. Hey, if you think I'm getting that recognition, that's what's up, you know. I could only be doing me and seeing what other people think, so I appreciate you giving me that feedback. As far as Stephon Marbury, you know, it's easy for him to say that, but at the same time, you know, Jordan is with this huge corporation. I mean, how much power does he actually have? That's just my opinion. I understand what Stephon's saying, and like, you know, he did the Strawberry line, which he's bringing back, where he puts out basketball shoes that are more affordable for kids. I mean, you could literally buy basketball shoes for like $20, maybe even less. I think that's real cool that he did that. As much as I think he's a dick at the same time, I have a personal issue with him. Not an issue with him. I don't have an issue like there's beef or anything. I just think he's an asshole. Even though it's funny because he actually follows me on Twitter. But I think he's an asshole because back in the days when I was a kid, right? You're going to laugh at this. This is a funny story. I actually waited a table, and it was him and a group of his friends, family. They ran up such a crazy bill, right? Now, when you wait tables, you gotta, you know, at the end of the day, you have to tip out your bartender and your busboys, the ones that clean the table after everyone's done. So I'm waiting the table. It's me and 2 other people because it was like 20 people he brought into the restaurant. This guy, right, just spent so much money in there. And guess what he tipped me? Not 20%, which is what you should tip. Especially if you're a celebrity, you should definitely tip at least 20%. Damon Dash, I remember waiting his table when I was a kid. I think he tipped me like 40% of the bill. It was crazy. Shout out to Damon Dash, by the way. Ended up, you know, talking to him a few times as I got older, like building with him a little bit. Shout out to Jeremy Dash, too. That's a friend of mine. But I'm getting back to what I was saying with this guy, Stephon Marbury. This dude, right, he didn't tip me 20%. He didn't tip me 15%. He didn't even tip me fucking 1%. He tipped 0. He left no tip at all. And the bill was like $800. And then keep in mind, you gotta, at the end of the day, whatever your sales is, you gotta tip out your bartenders. You gotta tip out your busboys. So I ended up losing money because of Stephon Marbury that day. We made sure he was so happy. We took really good care of him too. Like, he was thanking me like crazy. He was really like, I know he wasn't pissed off. He was like super happy with like the day. And you know, we're young kids and we're just, you know, just trying to, you know, get our money and whatnot. And he left us no tip. So ever since that day, I was like, I lost a lot of respect for him because he sees young people, and I'm just like, damn, this guy's a real cheapskate, you know what I mean? Because even if he sells a shoe for a cheaper price, he's still making money off of it, you know? So he could be like, oh, well, I want to help the kids, I want to do that, but at the end of the day, he's still making money off the shoe, which is fine. He's still selling it for a cheaper price, and it's an opportunity for kids to get sneakers, you know, and not have to hurt their parents' pockets, and I love that. But I just had to share that story. I'm not mad at him. You know, that was a long time ago. But ever since, like, when I was a kid, I was like, man, that dude is a cheapskate and, you know, just trashy for doing such a thing like that. You know, when you go out to a restaurant, if you don't want to tip your waiter, you shouldn't go to the restaurant, you know? That's just how I feel. People make a living off of that. I remember when I used to wait tables, I was waiting tables with people that were, like, you know, way older than me, that were, like, 30, 40, 50 years old, and you know, this is their full-time job. You know, they got bills to pay, and I couldn't imagine like them having to deal with that situation at the end of the night and then losing money, you know. Had to share that story. I'm sure some of you guys will get a kick out of it. I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I feel like it's vibing nice. Hit that like button right now. If you do, it goes a long way, for real. Let's see what we got here. Jared23 writes, keep up the good work. Thank you very much, man, for real. Then he writes, what's your thoughts on James Harden going to Adidas? I love it. I personally think it's awesome. I love Adidas, man. So, you know, him leaving Nike to go to Adidas is dope. And then he writes, what's my thoughts on customs, people making breads out of laser ones? I think that's really dope. I actually really think that's dope because, you know, it's creative and it's basically a blank canvas. I would love to have a pair of shoes like custom like on that model. I think that would be cool. I don't know what colorway I would like that done with. Probably the fragment colorway would be nice. But you know, I don't have that talent yet. Maybe I'll start messing with it and start trying to customize shoes. But real cool, man. I dig that. Also writes, please bring the podcast back to iTunes. Probably not unless I could get it on there for free. Unless it's for free, I'm not paying to put it on iTunes, so I could put it on YouTube for free. You can just listen to it on YouTube. Everyone got the YouTube app, so you can just listen to it there. And if you want to download the podcast, just let me know. I could post links on like downloading the podcast for people that want to download it. If I have a lot of people asking, I would love to download the podcast every week, the audio. Please tell me. I'll post it, you know, on a link and just tweet it every week. All right. So definitely let me know, because I know some people like to download the podcasts. I download other people's podcasts from time to time. Next we got from Ethan. He writes, do you think the Yeezy Boost will ever be available on a wide scale to the general public, like Ye said back in his interviews? Eventually, yes. It's going to be very slow, though. Slow motion with that. Eventually, yes. I would say give it like 2 years. A year, 2 years. They trying to milk it. They trying to keep it real slow and just keep this hype and this momentum going, man. This is great promotion for the brand, and that's why they're doing it. On E-Price the King, he writes, who would you like to see get a Jordan brand collaboration? Me. I would love a Jordan brand collaboration. All the damn time I put into talking about Jordan brand throughout the years. I think I've been reviewing shoes for 8 years, you know, talking about history of Jordan. I feel like Jordan brand too, like the people that work at Jordan brand, I guarantee like 50% of them don't know shit about Jordans like at all, or Michael Jordan and his career and whatnot. I can just tell by the way Jordan brand is going that they just don't know shit about Michael Jordan. It's like crazy. Next we got from Rapture Kicks. He writes, Yeezy 950 Duck Boot and the Air Mags. I have no clue what's going on with the Air Mags. I talked about it last podcast. No clue. But they got to be doing something. That's like a real whack look for Nike if they didn't. There's no way they're going to do that. Like, they're not going to take advantage of something that's just historic. The Yeezy 950 Duck Boot, if you're, you know, needing a new pair of boots, they're a nice pair of boots. That's what I look at it as. I don't own like many pairs of boots. Like, I feel like all I need is like 2-3 pairs of boots and I'm good. If I could get my hands on them, I'll get them, but I'm not gonna be like upset if I don't get them. I'm more into sneakers. Like, I want mad pairs of different kicks. Like boots is like, to me, like when the weather sucks. That's when I wear boots. I'm not like the boot dude. Or once in a while, you know, if I'm in a mood, I'll throw a pair of Timberlands on, even if the weather's not bad. But, you know, if it's cold out, I'm not that dude that wears Timberlands in the summertime. Like, it's just not me, even though I know it's popular right now. It was popular back in the 90s, like when I was in school. Like, kids were wearing boots with shorts and shit, you know, back in the Biggie era, you know. Boot Camp Click. Rest in peace to Sean Price. Let's see. Next we got Abana 16 talk about Vic, how he's trying too hard to make them hot. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. It's like too much going on. But I don't think Vic was like completely like designing the shoe. I'm sure he had other people, you know, putting this shoe together project-wise. He probably just said what inspires him, and he mentioned a whole bunch of kicks, and they whipped it up. I just feel like it was like too much. Maybe they didn't need to do like the safari. Like, they could have took some elements out, and it would have been dope. Let's see. Steve writes, seems to be very few people aside the older heads that were into Jordan 1s the way it is now. The release of the Chicago 1s opened the floodgates, in my opinion. Do you think this still would happen if the Jordans were not limited like they were? And then he writes, DJ Delz for president 2020. Hell yeah. No, I would not want to be president. That's too much responsibility. I think that the Jordan 1s have been hyped since the Breads and the Royals came out. You know, they made it limited. That's the problem. When something's limited and it's a classic, it becomes like such a desirable item. So when they made the Bread 1s, the Royals limited, that just set it up for like just all this hype. I cannot believe how limited they made these, but what are you gonna do? It is what it is, man. These guys know what they're doing. That's why they're making money. That's how they're able to market their company. You don't have the opportunity to buy this shoe, so you end up buying that other shoe from the brand. That's how they work. J Ray writes, what's my thoughts on the Jordan 1 Royal 1s? I think they're cool. I did a review on them. If you haven't seen that, check that out. And then he writes, I'm pretty sure he meant Nike. He writes, if any of the Nike Yeezys were to retro years from now, do you think the hype would be the same? Definitely. It would be insane. It would be really crazy. So, Young Flicks, how you doing, Delz? I'm chilling. Right, just wondering your thoughts on Stephon Marbury. Yeah, I just spoke about that already, but shout out to you. Also, he writes, what's my thoughts on the Snakeskin 4's rumored to release next year? I think it looks cool. Next, we got Mr. Santana. What up, Delz? Love your podcast. What can you tell us about the upcoming collabo with Saucony? Let's see. Well, I'll just say it like this. Until the shoe comes out, I don't really want to speak about it. Or until I have a sample in my hand, I don't want to speak about it. Because I've been doing this for a long time, and sometimes sneakers don't actually come out. Even though you think they're going to come out, they don't, you know. For example, Wale, from my understanding, was supposed to come out with a shoe with Nike. And they never put that shoe out, you know. And then he talked about it later on. So, you know, I'm not going to speak about any projects that I got going on as far as too much details. I know, like, some other people were speaking about it, which is fine. You know, I got no issue with that. And shout out to everyone that's got projects coming out, like, especially YouTubers. I'm very proud of every YouTuber, every single one that has a sneaker project coming out. I mean, it's really awesome. It's really just showing that, you know, YouTubers are doing their thing. You know, it's not just the blogs and whatnot and other taste makers. I mean, even though I consider a lot of us YouTubers taste makers, I'm really proud of every single YouTuber that got stuff going on with all types of brands. So that's all I got to say about that. All I know is if I have a sneaker that comes out, I'm going to tell you this, it's going to have inspiration to the 80s, the 90s, and it's going to be outrageous. It's not going to be something simple and plain. I want my shoes that I ever put out right now, the beginning phases of what I put out, is going to be something a little wild and crazy. I want to just have fun. I'm in a stage in my life right now where, you know, I got my kids around and, you know, I'm like reliving my childhood with my kids, you know, so I'm in like this mode where I just want to have fun and I want people to see anything that I put out there and say, man, this is dope, or this is crazy, or what is this guy thinking? Is this guy out of his mind? Or, you know, I want to put something out that's just going to take you back to when you were a kid. Take you back to, like, the 80s, the 90s, when you were a kid, and be like, oh, my God, this is so, like, you know, like, I want you to feel like a kid, you know, when you see it, you know? I want you to be like, this is ridiculous. That's all my goal is for my first couple of pairs of shoes, if they ever release. If they ever release. Because you never know. You never know. But I have a bunch of different things going, and, you know, if things happen, you know, thank you God if it does, because this is a dream come true. But as far as, you know, definite until it comes out, I just, you know, I've been so close to so many great things, and then all of a sudden it just, like, tanks. Just because, you know, the brand decides to go a different way, or a company decides to go a different way. That's why I don't really like speaking about stuff until after it's like when it's really coming out, when there's a release date, because you just never know. And sometimes when you speak about it, kind of jinx the whole situation. But, you know, there's information already out there, so I'm going to speak about it if it does come out. You guys are going to enjoy it, I think. I think anyone that really loves me, what I do and stuff like that, is going to be really psyched. And we're going to have fun with this, man. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. This is what I want to do. Like, I love this stuff. And he also writes, what's my favorite sneaker colors? I like red. Red's my favorite color. But it's all about the concepts and all that good stuff. That's what I'm into. Concepts, colorways, of course, but also concepts, storytelling, and like when you just can like see a shoe and say, wow, this is crazy. Like, are you kidding me? This is out of control. Like, Saucony, when they put out like the shoe with end and it looked like a hamburger, like, to me that's just awesome to me. I love that. To me, like, that's just so great. And I'm actually looking for a pair of those shoes still. I've seen them around, but I can never find them in my size, and whenever I do, the people are asking like a ridiculous price. Anyone that's looking to do trades or anything like that, hit me up on my Instagram over at Team DJ Delz, looking for a size 9 or 9.5. Next question we got from Vincent. He said he's becoming more interested in running shoes, so he would like to know which runner is more comfortable, in my opinion, Asics or Saucony. I feel like those two brands, as far as comfort, is basically the same comfort. I've never really put a pair of runners on ever in my life and have been like, man, these are so uncomfortable. Runners are just usually always comfortable. And when I buy runners, I'm getting them for either exercise. I know I'm not in the greatest shape, but I'm trying. Been trying a lot lately. Like in the gym, I'm wearing the Adidas Ultra Boost. I love that shoe. I think it's just a great shoe. And as far as just fashion-wise, runner-wise, I just prefer Saucony over Asics. I like the Grid 9000. I like the Grid SD. I like, let's see. I like the Shadow 600. Those are dope. You know, you can always hit me up on, you know, Twitter, Instagram, or just look at the reviews I have on a lot of the shoes. And I always have info in the description box where you can find them. You can always just search, you know, DJ Delz Saucony or DJ Delz Asics, and I'll show you like some of the Asics I like throughout the years, because I have a lot of reviews on Asics. But as far as Asics, I like the Gel Lyte 3, I like the Gel Lyte 5. Those are my favorites out of Asics. As far as a performance shoe though, I have never tried on like their shoes for like performance. It was always casual. So as far as, I don't know if you're asking me for actual physical running or just like runners in general, I prefer Saucony. And as far as performance, Adidas Boost is the best as far as what I've experienced so far. You could look at my review if you're curious about the Adidas Ultra Boost. Just search DJ Delz Ultra Boost, you know, and check out that review. Next we got from A+ Arab. He wanted me to speak about Hit 'em Up versus Who Shot Ya. Not sneaker related, hashtag. You're right, it's talking music here. Well, being that I was a kid when both of those came out, and I'm from New York, when that song came out, Hit 'em Up, that shit bothered me. Like, I was really tight. Like, I felt like he was talking about my friend. Like, you know, like that shit, like, I took that shit personally, and I was a fan of Pac. The shit pissed me off, man, as a kid. Like, looking at it now, like, comparing, like, Who Shot Ya to Hit 'em Up. Hit 'em Up was so brutal. I mean, it was such a amazing diss track because he was just really going in on him and just humiliating him on track. Versus, you know, Who Shot Ya was kind of light, you know, compared to Hit 'em Up. Hit 'em Up was brutal. That was some real battle shit. You know, even the video, like, you know, Hit 'em Up was way more like of a harder diss record than Who Shot Ya by far. But it's funny because as I was saying, I wanted to mention that, like, when I was a kid, hearing that, it was like, to me, it was so disrespectful. Like, to me, like, even playing that in New York was disrespectful because it was different times back then, and like that era versus now, like, you know, hip hop is so like everywhere now. I actually did a podcast on my other channel, the Delz Show, because I'm putting out a lot of music content and other kind of stuff, like with podcast kind of stuff, you know, over there, because I want to try to keep this sneaker related, but I don't mind talking about stuff lightly on the podcast just to like refresh your ears from just hearing sneakers for so long. You know, these podcasts usually go for about an hour, give or take. So it's a little refreshing in the ears, and then going back to some sneaker talk. Definitely check out that episode I did yesterday on the other channel where I talk about New York hip hop. I talk about Slim Jesus and a whole bunch of other stuff. That will be in the description box below. You're gonna really enjoy that. But yeah, Hit 'em Up was a way better diss record, because I mean, it was fucking brutal, man. It was brutal. I mean, it was a crazy time back then. It was a crazy time back then. I feel blessed that I lived in that era, like, as a kid. Like, I feel really blessed and honored to have grown up back in the days where you had artists like what we're talking about right now, you know, Biggie, Pac, and you had amazing athletes. Like, it was like it's a blessing, you know. And what I was saying just a minute ago about, you know, it wasn't everywhere. I'm not talking about the music. I'm talking about the actual artists. You know, most of the artists that people were listening to at that time were either from the East Coast or the West. Just want to make that clear, what I was talking about. Not like just the form of music, like it was only playing in certain areas. Of course, everyone was listening to it. Just, it's not like now where you have so many rappers from all over America, even outside of America, like Drake, etc. You know what I mean now. So if someone was dissing someone from the West Coast and you were from the West Coast, you took that shit personally. A lot of people, just like vice versa. If you're from the East Coast and people were dissing Biggie or Nas or Mobb Deep, took that shit personally because, you know, it was either the West or the East, you know. It's just a different time, like now versus then. Next we got Drew. He writes, why doesn't Jordan Brand go past the 14, you know, releasing the 17s, the 21s? I think that they are slowly. They're just testing the waters. Like you see, they released the 20s this year. It's coming, man. You just got to be patient. They just have to test the waters. They don't want their shoes flopping. And then he also writes, will Reebok and Adidas ever get to Nike Jordan popularity? Who knows? You know, at one time, Reebok and Adidas was more popular than Nike and Jordan back in the days, to be honest with you. It just, you know, history changes, it repeats itself, you never know. Then he writes, what Adidas shoe do you expect Harden to wear this season? He's going to be wearing the Crazy Light Ultra Boost, the Prime Knit one. I'm sure that's what he'll be wearing. I'm pretty sure he's already wearing that. That's an awesome shoe, by the way. Check out my review on that. I think it's a great shoe for on the court and to wear casually. And then he also has another question, which I don't mind. Guys, if you ask good questions, go for it. And I like how he's keeping them short and sweet, too. Shout out to that guy, Drew, right here. Because he know how to, like, leave questions, you know. Not you know, being mean or being a dick to other people. This is how you ask questions on this. Just real short and sweet, so he just buzz through them. He also writes, will Harden's new contract will affect Derrick Rose being the top guy for Adidas? I think with all of Derrick Rose's health problems, which is really sad because I really like Derrick Rose a lot. I think Derrick Rose's situation at itself is affecting it to the point where Lillard is already moving up like over him. And you know, we'll see what the future holds with Harden. I'm sure Harden will get his own shoe. You also have John Wall, who has a pretty kick-ass new shoe coming out. I've seen images of like the gray colorway, which looked real dope. There's like a Halloween colorway out floating around at select retailers. I haven't seen yet, but I'm not really that big of a fan of that colorway, but the shoe looks dope though. The John Wall one was awesome, but you know, we'll see, man. You know, as time goes, what's gonna happen? Only time will tell. Like, you know, we just gotta sit back and watch, you know, watch this unfold, you know. Next we got from Delta. He writes, have you ID'd any LeBron 13s? Your thoughts on the shoe? I have not yet. I want to do a Bruce Lee colorway, but I'm not in a rush to do it because it's like $245, and I could always do it whenever I feel like doing it. And there's a bunch of shoes I want to get in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just going to wait until I get a discount code over at Nike. I'm sure eventually I'll get someone that'll bless me with a discount code, and I'll be able to get it for under retail. So, you know, if anyone ever has an extra discount code and is a diehard fan of the show, of course, you know, I'll shout you out when I do the review on the Nike ID, like I did with the Kyries that I made that were inspired by Derek Jeter and to pay tribute to my mother who passed away. I shouted that person out. Like, I will always shout you out if you hook me up with a Nike discount code. And especially with the LeBron 13, the Bruce Lee, I'm going to do one. As far as the shoe, I haven't seen it in person. I got to see it in person. I watched Nightwing's review, and I got to say, after watching the review, I kind of don't even want the shoe. Like, half of me, like, wants the shoe still, and the other half of me is like, damn, you know? And Nightwing knows his shit, so, you know, I'm going to take what he says and pay attention to it. One YouTuber I respect. Obviously, I have him on my actual channel on the newest episode of Kicking It. If you haven't seen it, make sure to check that out, featuring Nightwing and Jack Slate. Real cool episode. That will be in the description box below. And then he also writes, what do I think about the Jordan 30? What's the deal? When is it coming out? Your guess is as good as mine, my man. Your guess is as good as mine, my man. I got no clue. Michael Francisco writes, who had a better album, Drake or J. Cole? The Drake album, you know, if you're reading this now, it's too late. Or J. Cole, Forest Hill Drive. Didn't Forest Hill release last year? Maybe I'm wrong. But I like J. Cole's album a little better. But I like Drake's album too, you know. But I just feel like J. Cole, man, he just like... I feel what the motherfucker's saying, you know. I like J. Cole a little more. Like I feel what Drake's saying too, but there's some with J. Cole I just kind of like relate more with J. Cole. But Drake is dope, man. He's very talented, man. Not taking anything away from him. Next we got from ASAP Valen writes UNC review, please. And then he caught himself. He's like noticed that I already did the review. Said he liked it. For anyone, also, I want to make this clear. I understand that it's supposed to be a darker blue because the OG was a darker blue, but the whole nickname of what I was saying in that review, it's a darker blue than the actual UNC color, like the actual UNC color. Like this shoe is nicknamed the UNC, but it's not the same blue as the UNC colorway on the jerseys, on the logos. This is a shade darker. It's still a light blue, but that's what I was talking about. As far as comparing it to the original, it's pretty close to the original. Just wanted to make that clear. Check out that review. I have a review on it. Just go to the main page and check out all the newest episodes here at youtube.com/The Sneaker Addict. And wow, last question. Believe it or not, I think I just threw everyone off because I posted this in the beginning of the week. People were expecting me to post the questions on Thursday as usual. Pay attention to my social networks because this is going to happen time to time. You know, I may be busy, something may come up, and I always will rather try to put something out there as far as a podcast every other week than not at all, just because I can't do it, you know, when I usually do it. So always pay attention to my Twitter, my Instagram. It's really important that you do. I'll put all that in the description box. Make sure you're following all my social networks. No Man Perfect But God writes, what do you think about the Jordan 1.5 Soar releasing in 2 weeks, the one that looks kind of like the Fragment ones? I like the 1.5. My whole problem with the shoe is not really the midsole. It is the tongue. I just feel like the tongue looks like shit the way they have like that yellow foam that you can kind of see through, and it just doesn't look right. They should have used white foam stuffing the tongue, because where you have that, you know, where that opening is where you can put your lace through, you can see that yellow nasty looking foam, and little things like that bother me sometimes. For some, you know, they're like, whatever, I'll just lace over it, it'll be fine. I never use that anyway, including myself, but it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just can't fuck with that. Like, but this one's a cool colorway. I mean, you know, if they released the Fragment colorway without Nike on the tongue and without, you know, the Fragment logo, I would be fine with that. I don't need to have the Fragment logo on the shoe. I really like that shoe. I just didn't get it for retail, and I'm not paying that crazy resale price. And unless I could run into like a trade or something, I'll never have that shoe. But, you know, I'm also that guy, if they came out with it and it was the same shoe but it didn't have the Nike logo and the Fragment logo, it just had, you know, a Jumpman logo and it was a high, I would cop it because of the colorway. I just like the color combination. I think it's dope. I'm not going to end this podcast right here because I hit you with a short podcast last week. What I'm going to do is, because what I did was the day after I posted what do you guys want me to speak about, I did post also the next day, what do you guys want me to speak about on the Delz show that's not sneaker related, and people still wrote like sneaker questions. So I'm going to answer some sneaker questions on this post, and I'm going to answer some non-sneaker questions that I did not answer over at the Delz show. I really recommend you listening to that hip-hop podcast that I did. It's like, I think it's about 15 minutes long, give or take, where I talk about New York hip-hop, how it's not as popular anymore to some. I talk about Slim Jesus, that white dude, Slim Jesus, and a lot more. So definitely check that out. I'm not going to re-speak about that. Just listen to that podcast. You're going to enjoy it if you're into hip-hop. So let's get into these questions. Polga writes, do you collect anything else besides kicks? Not really. I do have collectibles. Like, for instance, I'm into WWE, and I thought it was so crazy when Brock Lesnar defeated Undertaker at WrestleMania and just took the streak away. So I got this plaque signed by Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, and it actually has a piece of the ring, the rope, on this plaque. And I was able to get that for like the low, like I was able to get that for like way under retail, like what they were selling it for, because I had a hookup, and I got that just because I just want to, like, I'm working on like my own like room in a house that I just am like trying to get together now. Like, I copped a new house, so I'm trying to like slowly like create like my like man cave. Not a cave, it's gonna be an actual room, but it's gonna be like, you know, sneaker room slash just my like place to chill, you know, like my room, you know. So I'll put like some stuff that's kind of collectible like that. I was able to get that, and then this other WrestleMania thing that had a piece of the ring from that same, you know, WrestleMania 30 where that big match happened, because I got really into that match because it was so devastating. I've never seen in, I would say, 23, 24 years of me watching wrestling. You know, I took a little bit of a break, but then I got back into it, especially now that I have kids, they really are into it. I never seen a crowd just go completely, like, just silent, like someone just died when Undertaker lost. And I thought that was so fascinating. So I ended up getting like another plaque that had the ring in it, like a piece of the ring. And then I met Jake the Snake Roberts and actually had him sign it because he was inducted to the Hall of Fame that year. And that's really cool that I have that. And matter of fact, now that I think about it, I actually have some Mick Foley memorabilia. Like, I was able to meet Mick Foley at the Wrestling Hall of Fame in New York, and I was able to like shoot all of like his original gear from when he was all of his different characters. So I brought a sock with me, and he did like the Socko character and signed it. I mean, I had to. How can you not do that if you have that opportunity? So, you know, that's another piece of memorabilia. I really love Mick Foley. I think he's, you know, he's almost like an American dream, man, because like he always wanted to be a wrestler since he was a kid, and like as he got older, like, you know, he wasn't the best looking guy, you know, but he was like an awesome person as far as like his character, and he was fearless. He, like, the dude would do the craziest shit in the ring, and I just like, I always looked at him as like just such an awesome person, and such a talented person, you know. Of course, wrestling is, you know, it's like acting, you know, and I always thought that he was very talented with his personalities that he would portray. I thought he was just one of the best. So that's another piece of memorabilia that I actually have. But I'm not going to be collecting any more stuff like that. I highly doubt that. But like, if I see something cool, I'll scoop it up. Star Wars stuff. I have a pretty cool Star Wars collection from back in the days with all my toys, because I was blessed to have my mother actually like care about my toys. It's kind of because she like really got me into Star Wars. I was like born into it. So like when I grew out of like playing with toys and stuff, she packed it all in her attic, and I was able to get all the stuff, and it's like really like old, and it's, some of the stuff's really rare. So I have that, and my kids are really into Star Wars because, you know, you have the cartoons and stuff. So like, I took my kids out. Well, one of my kids, the other one was in school. We went out for that Force Friday during the day. We didn't go that midnight thing. These kids are, you know, they're kids. I'm not bringing them out at midnight like that. So I went out. I bought them a lot of the toys and stuff. So a lot of the stuff they haven't opened yet, because I want them to see the movie first so they can really connect with the toys after. I don't think the kids are going to connect to the toys until after they see the movie. They see the trailers. They're like into Rey and all that. But, you know, BB-8, the robot, because he's so marketable. But when the movie comes out and we all watch that, then they're going to be like so into the toys, opening it up after, really having a connection with the character after watching it. But the only thing that I really still have collected from Star Wars because I don't consider that collecting, because the kids are going to eventually open all that stuff up. I have these cards that have pieces of Ewok hair, and I collected all the different Ewoks, like the main character Ewoks. They actually cut like a piece of the Ewok costume, and they put them on these Topps cards, these Star Wars Topps cards, and I'm missing one of them, but I have all of them basically except one. And then I have another thing that has a piece of Chewbacca's hair from his costume from A New Hope. So like I collect little like relics like from Star Wars and stuff, just because like I'm a huge Star Wars geek. I have a piece from that sail during that scene when they were trying to like kill Luke Skywalker in the desert with Jabba the Hutt. I have like that's a piece of that sail, which is kind of dope. I really like that. I have also from the bunker on Return of the Jedi. I have a piece of that actual bunker when they were, you know, in Endor on the planet. I have a piece of that big bunker. So those are things I collect. I used to be into like comic books as a kid. I have boxes and boxes of comic books still, just chilling around. I used to collect baseball cards, basketball cards, Marvel comic cards. I was really into as a kid. But as far as now, I don't really collect much. You know, I buy sneakers. I guess I have a collection of shoes because I have more than the average. But I don't like have like a particular thing I collect. Like I'll just see something that brings me back to when I was a kid that fascinates me, and I'll just be like, I gotta have this. This is crazy, you know. So that's with that. And moving on, T Belly 21 writes, how do I feel about Sting in the WWE? I'm actually gonna answer your question on the Delz show, so make sure to go there, the Delz show, because I'm gonna do a whole thing on your question. I'm pretty sure. Jason writes, what's my dream car? A Lamborghini or a Ferrari, one or the other. Like, that's what I want. Moving on, let's see. Sid the Animal writes, how is your rotation so perfect? Thank you. That's nice to say. You know, I just basically, I wake up, I get myself together, and I figure out what I want to wear, you know, what I'm in the mood to wear. And that's basically what it is. That's why I have so many shoes, because I want to wear different things all the time as far as with kicks, you know. So that's just what it is. Eric writes, what kind of shampoo do you use if you do? I actually use whatever shampoo my wife buys me, like, you know, because she buys all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I use shampoo even though I am bald. Yes, I know people are gonna be like, why would you use shampoo if you have no hair? I still use shampoo. It's just, you know, habit. I've always had shampoo on my head, so I just continue to use shampoo. The next question is from Young Flicks. Why and when did you go bald? Well, I didn't go bald. I chose to become bald. What happened was I went from having longer hair to having like short hair with a fade, and then after that I decided one day, because I couldn't find my damn barber, to just shave my head because I had to go out and my hair was looking crazy. So I shaved it, went out. You know, all the chicks that I was meeting was like, yo, I love the baldy, looks dope. All my friends were like, yo, that's a dope look right there. I think you need to run with that. And then that was it. I just went with the baldy look. I actually enjoy not having hair. It's a little bit of an inconvenience shaving every like couple of days, but it's way less than an inconvenience like getting ready and making sure your hair is looking normal and you don't look all crazy out there. So, you know, I like being bald. Michael Jordan's a baldy. Shout out to Onyx, Fredro Star 2. He did a great job on that battle, I thought. I knew Fredro was going to do it. I know Keith Murray, you know, he's dope. Like, I fucks with Keith Murray. Shout out to Keith Murray, too. I'm really happy that there was no violence on the stage, too, because I've been around both of them, and I know those guys, they're not messing around. And I'm really happy that that didn't happen, any kind of violence or anything. But I knew that Fredro was going to be prepared for that. I mean, he's, besides the fact that he's dope, you know, on record, younger heads may not even know who he is, you know, but the older heads do. I mean, besides the fact, though, he's talented. He also was an actor, so, you know, he's able to prepare himself for stuff like this, and he clearly did, because he definitely won that battle without a doubt. It wasn't even like a competition. because he was super prepared, and Keith Murray was not prepared for that battle. Even though I love Keith Murray, man, shout out to that dude, pause, but you know, that's the homie right there, Keith Murray. Next we got from Andrew. He writes, do I script out my episodes? No, I don't. It's always usually cold. The only time I script out the episode, actually, though, I kind of script it out is with Kicking It, because I gotta like have some sort of format, so I'll kind of like script it out in my head a little, of like introducing video clips while putting a story together before the clip. But besides that, any other content, it's unscripted. I think we're gonna wrap this up right here. Oh no, let me do this question. This will be the last one. I actually really like this. Meek writes, ways to make money or getting into saving money. Well, to make money is to save money. That's what my grandfather used to always tell me. And he was like, you know, a smart guy. You gotta budget yourself. That's really what it comes down to. Like, if you got $300 in your pocket, you shouldn't be buying a new Jordan that's coming out, you know? If you got a couple of $1,000s in your pocket, then you can buy the new Jordan. That's peeling off a little money off of that. But you just got to budget yourself. Don't buy it if you don't got it, you know? Save your money. And if you really want nice things in life, work harder to make more money. Like, that's really what it comes down to, you know? It's really what it comes down to. If you want nice things, work harder and make money. And also another thing is, you know, if you aren't making a lot of money, you live in like a city where taxes are high, you should probably move out of that city and move to a city where taxes aren't that high. Because, you know, I've traveled a lot and I've noticed that, like, for instance, like New York is a ripoff to live in. The taxes are too high and it's overpopulated. Think about moving somewhere else that's cool, that's may not be as populated, may not be as poppin', but you could probably make more money there. You won't have to pay so much taxes, especially at the end of the year. Just things to think about for people that are thinking about all that kind of stuff, because, you know, we all need that money, so we think about it. And that was the last question that I seen. If I didn't answer your question, I probably missed it just from scrolling down. I apologize. I will have a new podcast, not this weekend, but next weekend. You know, we do it every other week. If you need more, you want more content right now, keep in mind, you know, I have tons of episodes. Just go to the main page. I have a lot of different playlists organized nicey nice, from more podcasts to pick one episodes to just Jordan videos to SB videos to Reebok, Adidas. You get the drill. Go to the main page over at youtube.com/The Sneaker Addict if you need more content, or look in the description box below. I'll throw some videos I'd like you to check out, including the Kicking It series where I talk sneakers with all types of heads, from Currency to Nightwing to Jacques Slate to all types of people. Check out Kicking It. And if you love that series and you want to help out a little bit, like sharing it on your like Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus means the world. Like, anyone that really loves the show, let your friends and family know about Kicking It. I want to try to get that out there more. And just this channel in general. This channel, you know, has so much room to grow. There's so many people that have no clue about this channel. And without you, the people, you know, there's no show. So let your friends know about it. It means the world to me. And thank you for listening to today's podcast. Really appreciate that. Don't forget sneakeraddict.com for your sneaker news, updates, and I think I covered it all. Everyone have a great week, and we out. Alright, so I got a few hip-hop related questions that I'm going to answer right now. I'm just going to this Instagram post, and let's get right into it. Thuggist writes, is there any hope of bringing back the title to NYC? Other than Jay-Z, New York rap is dead in my opinion. That's what Thuggist writes. Shout out to Thuggist, by the way. Cool dude. I think that the thing is that music has changed so much, and what you want to hear is just not what people are putting out. But there are big artists in New York. They're just not getting recognized as New York artists. Now, I'm not trying to by any way like kind of go against what you're saying or even diss you, because you're not alone. I have tons of people that I talk to all the time that are like, yo, New York music is so whack now, it's dead, there's no big artists. There are big artists from New York, they're just not creating the music you want to hear. And I'm not, as I was saying, just like directly saying you, just you. There's so many people from New York that feel the same way as you. If you look, You got French Montana. He's selling so many records. He's on tour. He's flying all over the place with Chris Brown on tour buses. I mean, the guy came from nothing. I was with him when, you know, he was grinding. Like, I rolled with French, you know. I seen it with my own two eyes. There's plenty of videos out there, DVDs, stuff like that, of me with French. You know, I've worked on projects with French back in the days before, you know, he signed to Bad Boy when he was running with Max B. Free Max B, for real. Gotta put that out there, man. I definitely miss my homie Max B. A lot of fun days with Max. And French, man. French is a real talented dude. He used to be way more lyrical before, you know, he became this megastar, you know. Some will disagree. He's not a megastar, but he's on tour at Chris Brown, selling out shows. He's a megastar, you know. Damn what was on Keeping with the Kardashians. When you on that show, you know you're a megastar. They don't put no one that's not a megastar up on there. But, you know, as far as, like, a Jay-Z level of lyricism and just, like, taking the world by storm, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, because I haven't heard anyone out of New York that has done anything that has been, like, so, like, oh, my God, this is fucking incredible, you know? Like, the first time I heard Nas or Jay-Z, Biggie, DMX, you know, the list goes on and on, Big Pun, like, there's artists from New York that are just so legendary, so powerful. The music is just so different now. But there are a lot of big artists from New York. They just don't get the credit, or they get overlooked as far as someone as a representative of New York hip-hop music, just because they're not delivering what people expect. Like another example, A$AP Rocky, Ferg. Those guys are dope. Love listening to A$AP Ferg, especially. Like, I thought his debut album was fire, like, really, really dope. That's my opinion. I thought Ferg's album was dope, and I considered it, like, New York hip-hop to me, you know. I think Flatbush Zombies is dope, but they're nowhere near, like, some kind of level like Jay-Z and whatnot, and I think they're going downhill musically. I think their first project, like, the early music they were putting out, more better, like, content-wise, and even the format, it's just, they had some good songs, you know. I'm just not getting that same shit that I was getting before, you know, and I really liked the older shit. Let's see, Action Bronson's cool. Nicki Minaj is a New Yorker, and she's a megastar. I mean, the chick is huge, you know. I remember when she first was coming up, I used to deal with her, I used to talk to her, and, you know, she has came a long way, man. She's came a long way since, you know, when she was just trying to get mixtapes out there and trying to get heard. I remember trying to get her, you know, in spots in, like, the Bronx and stuff like that back in the days, and people would look and be like, hell no, and I would tell them, yo, this chick got something, man. People are fucking with her, you guys just gotta give her a chance, you know. So I used to really push a lot of the artists with the music game, you know, especially, like, French. If you're a diehard French Montana fan, you follow, like, French before he had a record deal, when he was rolling around with Max. Most people know me from that, with Max B and French Montana and whatnot. And if you don't, then just do a search, DJ Delz French Montana, and you'll see a ton of shit. Even Max B. I think anyone that really fucks with Max knows, you know, I used to work with Max with the music and whatnot. I used to rock with Max. I was a heavy supporter of Max B. The first time I heard his music, I was blown away. I was like, yo, this guy is incredible. When I was in the studio with him, and I remember Stack Bundles was there. They were all just playing me music, and I was like, man, this dude is incredible. Like, I was like, this shit is so good. Like, it's a shame that he got locked up, Max. I hope one day that he's free, and, you know, hopefully he can get back to putting out great music. And just seeing him, he was a real cool dude, man. I have some real great memories hanging out with Max B. Swaggy writes, I see right here, do you still talk to Montana? He says he loves his music, excited about his new album. His name is actually Christian, who's writing this, Triple Threat Kicks. I don't talk to French because French is just a real busy guy now, man. He's very, very busy, you know. He doesn't have much time on his hands, and when he does, I'm sure, you know, the last thing he's thinking about is me, you know. The dude is super busy. You know, I used to have French call me and see how I was doing. You know, we were, at one point, I considered him a friend. If I see him now, I know, like, you know, French will say what's up to me, because it wasn't like I just talked to French once or twice. We were really cool, but he's a megastar. I mean, he's a superstar. He's working with Kanye West. He's on tour with Chris Brown. I mean, that guy don't got no time to, that guy probably don't got much time to even sleep, you know? Shout out to French. I'm looking forward to hearing his new album also. Trill Will also writes, what's the story behind the Nicki Minaj drop on the beginning of the Sneaker Addict show? The Nicki Minaj drop is just her recording some audio for me for radio and, you know, just drops for when I'm DJing and whatnot. Nicki Minaj, as I was saying, like, I was supporting her when she was, you know, just coming up. See, when I was heavy into DJing and New York hip-hop, I was really having my ear out there in the streets. And I knew who was the stars and who was not the stars. And even if you look at, like, popular blogs like NotRight.com, you'll see I was contributing to, you know, breaking records by playing them. You know, they would grab the records I'd play and post them over there. Because I knew who was hot. I had my ear in the streets. I was in the damn streets, you know. I'm older now. I faded away from that scene. And a lot of it had to do with, I guess, also the change of music. And, you know, it's just different. The music industry changed so much. Everything is online instead of being out there. And it changed so much, the music industry. And I kind of like lost interest in the actual industry because it just seems so cutthroat and fake, you know. For people that are like, yo, are you still like heavy with music? I'm not as heavy as I used to be as far as with work. I do some stuff, you know what I mean, behind the scenes, because, you know, it does pay the bills if I have a job, you know. But as far as like before, it wasn't that I fell off, it's that I lost interest. I just kind of got sick and tired of the music industry being so fake, you know. It's really fake. It's really a fake industry. Not shooting any darts or shots at any of the artists that I mentioned at all. Let's not get that fucked up. But it's a fake industry. I've dealt with a ton of artists that are outside in New York. I just stopped liking it. I mean, I was running with some real major people at one point. You know, I was damn what rocking with Jermaine Dupri for a second. But, you know, as I kept like moving up in the music game, I started not liking it because I just seen like the real side of the music game. And, you know, at the same time, I started getting more into like fashion and clothing, and I started getting more into that and started fading away from the DJing stuff as much, and, you know, production and stuff like that, because I just kind of was like, I'm not really feeling this. It's not fun. I want to have fun. I want to work and have fun. I don't want to work just to work, you know. If I'm just going to do that, I'll just get a 9 to 5, you know. I want to have fun, you know. And I'm going to continue to try to find jobs that pay me that I enjoy until, you know, if there's ever a point where I need to get my ass any job, you know, just to pay the bills. But right now, I'm good right now. I've got my lanes here and there to get my paper. And as I said, I still do stuff with music. It's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff, you know. Definitely a lot of behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of people that's behind the scenes with music that you never hear about that do a lot of stuff, you know. A lot of stuff, especially when it comes to production, even writing. It's a lot of that, you know. And I think we're going to wrap this up. Actually, you know what? One artist that just popped into my mind that I like from New York that's on the come up is Dave East. I think Dave East is real dope. He got some hot records. He's been grinding for a hot minute, you know, putting out a lot of freestyles and, you know, hitting us with some records. But, you know, he's really coming up now, I noticed. And I'm really happy to see someone from New York coming up and actually putting out good music and at a consistent level. He's really beginning to really develop himself as an artist, and I'm really digging what he got going on. He got some shit going on. So shout out to Dave East. And also someone writes, Lion Kicks, he writes, Slim Jesus. He wants me to speak about Slim Jesus. I'll speak real quickly about it. I come from a different era with hip-hop. It's just crazy how accepted he is like, but he's not from that area. Like, he's making drill music, but he's not from that area. And I don't know if he's from the hood or not, but, you know, in the video, they were saying that the guns were props. So it just throws me off. Like, I'm used to hearing rappers that really come from that environment, you know. Some people will say, oh, they have to be, you know, murderers to rap. They can't just have talent. Of course, they could just have talent, but at least be from that environment. You don't have to be actually blowing motherfuckers' heads off, you know what I mean, or selling drugs and shit like that, but at least talk about what your environment is, you know. A lot of rappers that are legends, they weren't, you know, selling drugs or shooting people, but, you know, they were seeing it every single day out their fucking window or while they were walking to school or wherever, you know. It's just, they were a product of this environment and they are just putting this out there, you know. Storytelling, that's what hip-hop was, more or less. I mean, there still is that form. You just gotta find it. It's out there. You just gotta find it, you know what I mean? But keep in mind, I don't know everything about Slim Jesus, so he may be from, you know, the hood. He may be rapping about what he sees, but people keep telling me that he's not from that kind of environment. That's what I keep hearing. He did a Vlad interview. I didn't see it all, so you know, he may be from that area. If he is from an area where this type of shit is going on all the time, and like he's literally seeing this shit all the time, then I say, why not? I just think it was kind of corny if you're gonna have prop guns, you know, like, just don't show any fucking guns. Like, why do you have to show a gun in the music video? And if you are, like, a prop gun, like, are we making movies now? What are we doing here? This shit is fake. Like, that shit is fake. And, you know, he's not the only one that's fake that's, you know, making rap music. I'd say probably 80% of these rappers are fake, man. For real, they fake. Because I see it with my own two eyes, man. I've been out there, you know. I've been around rappers, man, that doing some serious time, man. I know who the real ones, who the fake ones, man. I've been around, you know, Max B, True Life, like people that are doing some real time, man. The real rappers always fuck with me, man. And I'm not, you know, some guy who comes off as the big tough guy. I've always just been myself. I think that's why real people like me, because I'm just honest and I'm real, you know. Not no guy trying to be a gangster or no guy trying to be a tough guy, because I'm far from that. But I've always been honest and real, and I think that's why I've always seen the people that are real and official, and I always fucked with the people that are official and real. I just would rather rappers in this day and age rap about what's in their environment. They don't have to exactly be pulling triggers and, you know, selling drugs, but at least being from that environment. If you're not from that environment, rap about what's in your environment, you know? Like Tretch said, if you ain't from the ghetto, stay the fuck away from the ghetto. Back in the days, he said that on that Ghetto Bastard record. To put out a record and try to just be kind of like a culture vulture and just fake it and just try to get that money, like, that shit is like, that's what hip-hop wasn't, you know, and now it's just so commercial. Like, it's just, it is what it is, man. It's such a popular form of music now. Like, hip-hop is pop music now, you know, so it's crazy. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments on everything that I